Moore, of course, Shane Rector, and Sam Merrill in the starting lineup. Got to tell a story about Connor Garner. He's a coach's kid from Raft River, Idaho. He walked on, played as a freshman a little bit, and he wasn't going to play a lot. He became the team manager for 3 years. Now in his 5th year in the program, he went to Tim Duryea and said, I want to finish my senior year in uniform. So he's been the head of the scout team throughout this year. He's played just a handful of times, but he's getting a start in his final game. It's a wonderful story.
Well, that's a great story, a great feel-good story. One of these days, I guarantee you, he'll follow his dad's footsteps, be a coach, and probably be a pretty dang good one, give him his background.
Absolutely. So he's getting honored today, starting for the first time in his career. Connor Gardner, the 6'2" senior, wearing number 25, and the tap is controlled by Utah State. They're in white. Air Force, of course, in their all-blue unis. They met earlier this year, actually on New Year's Eve, and Air Force got off to a flying start. They're up 15-0. A few minutes later, Utah State had caught them at 19. A game eventually won at Clune Arena by Air Force. It was a 78-73 victory.
And you can bet Coach Duryea has brought that up a number of times to getting off to a good start. Down 15-0, and they closed the gap and had a chance to win at the end. Air Force started out, Drew, in their zone. They've been playing a lot more man-to-man here down the stretch run of conference play.
In fact, we saw first in Boise, Idaho last week, Air Force didn't play one possession of zone. They didn't get that shot off. Shot clock violation, so good defense by Utah State as you look at Dave Pilipovich.
A good possession of defense at both ends, and I think starting a freshman point guard like Sid Tomes, that shows his inexperience. Your point guard's got to be the guy that has a feel for that shot clock and kind of runs the show.
Garner surveying. Now he finds Sam Merrill. Skip off to Jalen Moore. Great outside shooter, and the rebound pulled in eventually by Frank Tui.
Well, Utah State has gotten 2 pretty decent shots. Neither one have gone down. Air Force has started with 2 straight turnovers, a shot clock violation, and then a travel there by Ryan Manning trying to go a little bit too fast.
And it's unusual. Air Force usually takes very good care of the basketball. Merrill with the basketball as a freshman, joined typically by Kobe McEwen in the starting lineup, a fellow freshman. Moore gets a step, leans in, kisses it off the glass. Jalen Moore.
You'll very rarely see Jalen Moore out of control. At 6'9" with long arms, when he gets it in the paint, he's a great finisher, Drew. We talked about him in the open. Just an unbelievable career here for the Aggies.
Tomes fires a 3, short. Moore has a rebound. He is pulled in his career well over 600 rebounds, 632 to be exact.
Really nice ball movement there by the Aggies. I thought Jalen Moore should have rose up and let that one go instead of reversing the ball there.
But sometimes he can be too unselfish.
No, he is a lot of times too unselfish, and sometimes, for my money, too under control. I'd like to see him put his head down, get to the rack, and run over someone every once in a while.
That bounce pass was around the ankles of Tui, and he kicked it out of bounds.
Well, Air Force kind of returning the favor, getting off to an awful start. We mentioned the Aggies down 15-0 over at the Air Force Academy. Air Force now has turned it over 3 out of 4 possessions. Air Force coming off a win on Wednesday night, breaking a 6-game losing streak.
Well, Connor Garner got a good-looking shot off, just left it a little bit short. Tomes hands off to Graham. Now the senior Zach Coker. And Shane Rector really with a rip. 15 to shoot it for the Academy.
Shane Rector leads the Aggies in steals. He's always around the ball, always has his hands in and around the ball and has great anticipation. Of course, he has given in to that terrific freshman duo who now starts in the background. But Shane Rector's still one of the most explosive guards in the Mountain West Conference, whether he's coming off the bench or he's in the starting lineup.
And again, right as the shot clock was about to expire, Manning had to kind of force one up. Utah State, very sound defense initially. Good entry pass. Janasek off the assist from Garner.
That's two great post passes. Garner has gotten right into Janasek. Janasek couldn't cash the first one in about 2 possessions ago, but that goes unnoticed by a lot of fans. But feeding the post is kind of a lost art.
Sam Merrill commits the foul. Almost 4 minutes in, and Utah State pitching a shutout. Here's the entry pass you were talking about.
And a nice finish by Janasek there. Janasek leads the Aggies in field goal percentage, coming off a 14-point game after they beat San Jose State. At San Jose State, Drew, that's the first conference road game for the Aggies all season.
And we know how well San Jose State's been playing for Dave Wojcik. That's a really nice victory for them on the road. Here's Hayden Graham, little runner, and that won't go. Offensive rebound by Manning. And still a goose egg up there for Air Force.
Air Force having an awful hard time making one go down.
That's a pretty fancy little layup there on the drive from Shane Rector.
Well, I said Shane Rector is one of the most explosive and one of the best guards in the league in the open court. And there's just one example, finishing it with his offhand. Aggies have been straight man-to-man.
That's a good shot. In rhythm, the three-pointer knocked down by Hayden Graham.
Hayden Graham doesn't hunt the three-point shot, Drew. He's about a 34% three-point shooter. But if you catch it and your feet are inside the three-point line like Jalen Moore's was, he'll rise up and shoot that. You've got to have your feet outside the three when that ball gets in his hand.
Garner fires another three. Go down for him. It will.
There you go.
Atta baby, Connor Gardner. And the crowd really responding. The student section all standing up.
I think the student section kind of helped that one going in. They wished that one in for the senior walk-on.
And I'll tell you what, here's Tui, and he lays it up and in. Mom and Dad, I guarantee you, have a tear in their eye right now.
No question. Nice execution by Air Force there on that pick and roll. Tui, one of the best undersized inside players in the league. Well, you talk about a guy that works. Just zero in on him with both offense and defense and watch how he works around the basket.
A skip pass to Jalen Moore, and he buries a three.
And I believe he just moved up a spot in the career scoring list.
He's where he will finish. He's at number 9 as Janasek affects that shot. He just moved it into 9th place, and the reason I say that's where he'll finish is he's a couple hundred points shy of the 8th spot, and Moore traveled on that drive. We arrive at our first time out. A three-pointer knocked down by the walk-on senior Connor Garner. Senior night in Logan, Utah. And Shane Rector hearing it from the crowd after Connor Garner had his moment. There's his dad, Deshaun, in from New York. And Jimmy Moore was a great player here. Mom and Dad, and of course Grayson on the left played here at Utah State as well. He finished up his career last year, and Jalen Moore's going to go down. As you know, being a native, not a native of Utah, but somebody who spent a lot of time in the state of Utah, Jalen Moore is one of the finest young men to come out of this program, not only on the floor, but off the floor.
And a local guy, like you said, his dad played here, his dad worked for the university. Both Jalen and Grayson grew up coming to basketball camps here. His home is only about 3 miles from here, so it's one thing to go somewhere and be a star. It's another thing to be a local kid and be a star. What a wonderful family.
And Jimmy is an associate athletic director here.
See, I met Jimmy when he was assistant basketball coach. I always kid him when people refer to him as an administrator. I just always tell, you're just an old assistant basketball coach. You're not an administrator. He always laughed. He has one thing over his son. Jalen has scored more career points. Jimmy had a 40-point game here on this court against Wyoming.
That will count. He'll get continuation. That is Quinn Taylor.
Great job of running the court here, and a great delivery by Shane Rector. We kind of made it look like it was a big deal. Shane Rector was starting tonight. Actually, Shane Rector at 13 starts tonight. He started most of the season last year. I'm a big fan of his. He was a little loose with the ball, loose with his game as a junior. Like I say, he's kind of taking the back seat to these two terrific freshmen, both Kobe McEwen and Sam Merrill, and has done it very graciously.
Jacob Vann comes up with a loose ball, and Tui's underneath. He'll lay it in. It's an 8-point lead now for Utah State. Second hoop for Frank Tui, the junior from Elmhurst, Illinois.
The Aggies kind of rolled the dice there with a little half-court trap. Air Force got behind it for an easy one.
Dargington out there, number 11 for Utah State. And of course, number 1 is Kobe McEwen. Quinn Taylor doing his thing. 5 quick points for Taylor.
Good job by the Aggies getting the ball right to where you want to attack that zone. The high post right in the middle of the court. Dargington at 6'8" with long arms made a great pass.
Pretty shot again from three-point range for Hayden Graham, coming off a 19-point, 11 rebound effort against UNLV. Blowout win for Air Force.
I tell you what, I may take back what I've said about him, that he doesn't hunt the three. Maybe he is hunting them a little bit. That's back-to-back great three-point shots for Hayden Graham.
Frank Tui will buy his first. 17-10 Utah State. And Tui will step out, and freshman that the coaching staff of Dave Pilipovich very high on, Lavelle Scotty, comes in.
Scotty coming off tying his career high with 12 points in their win over UNLV.
Here's McEwen, guarded by Lyons.
Air Force remains in their zone.
Rector, nice pass, and the layup missed by Taylor, and he's going to get another opportunity. Wonderful thing about basketball, if it was baseball, you had a bat at bat, you got to wait a half hour, right? You got it back 2 seconds later.
And Dargington, great quickness to the ball, back-to-back assists for the 6'8" sophomore from Laramie Community College.
Hayden Graham with 8. It's just such a hard offense to cover, isn't it? You're talking about Air Force, all the patterns they run.
It really is, and they run it really well. They had a great offensive game against UNLV, shooting 47%, 53% from three. You try to take away their point play, it opens up the three-point shot.
Purvis Louder was fouled. Air Force will have it when we come back. Utah State off to a nice start at home. 19-12 they lead.
Tim Duryea spent 14 seasons learning the ins and outs of Aggie basketball under legendary Utah State coach Stu Morrill. But despite being the longest tenured assistant in program history, Duryea still had a steep learning curve with the new title, head coach.
You definitely have to be yourself. You can't change the beliefs that you have just because you think maybe, hey, this is what somebody else wants to see or what somebody else wants to do, and you have to be true to what you know how to coach.
After more than 40 games under his belt, Duryea is more comfortable in his role as head coach. And his players are more than comfortable giving their coach some lighthearted ribbing in the form of an impersonation.
He's always like, you gotta fight for your vision, you know, and he's always going like this, looking at both players, Gore, Jalen, Gore. He's always doing stuff like that, so it's like, there he goes again, you know, so it's always a good time.
It's time for the district shot.
College basketball on Root Sports is brought to you by Hyundai. Start your year off right with some help from Hyundai. Go to buyhyundai.com to find your next car or SUV. This is video earlier today right here at the Spectrum. Ridgeline High School, just about 15 minutes away, defeated Juan Diego Catholic High 89-63 in the 3A Utah State Boys Basketball Championship. Always great when you get to finish the season by cutting down the nets. That's awesome. Congratulations to Ridgeline High.
It's that time of year, isn't it, Drew? Championship games for high schools 10 days from today. The Mountain West Conference, one of the best conference tournaments, I think, in the nation, opens up down in Las Vegas at the Thomas and Mack Center. Or if you're a college basketball fan, that's a tournament you want to take in.
Lyons misses, and Hayden Graham corrals an offensive rebound. Here's Louder. He's got a great first step, and the layup is a little bit off. Kobe McEwen flying up the floor. What? How about that? Talk about a guy who's having a ball game down low.
9
Quinn
points.
Taylor, the former walk-on out of Houston, Texas.
Who averages 4.7 with 9 points in 4 minutes so far.
9 off the bench, 9 quick ones. Lavelle Scotty literally pulls his way in, and it's going to be a foul against Taylor.
Taylor has been all around the basket. His teammates have done a great job of getting him the ball at the appropriate time, at the appropriate place, in and around the low block here, but he has put on a show, pretty much just carrying the Aggies offensively.
Lavelle Scotty hits the first free throw in double figures his last 2 games. Joe mentioned he had a dozen against UNLV. He had 11 in a tough loss at San Jose State for Air Force. You know, Air Force has been in it. We've had them a bunch of times this year, Coach. They're in every game, and they're right there, and they've had trouble getting over the hump.
Can't get over the hump. It seems like they have been, like you say, in every game. They've had one bad loss over at Colorado State, where Colorado State just kind of boat raced them in the second half. But I'm telling you, how many times, 2 minutes left, they're right there, and they just can't seal the deal and get over the hump.
They're trying to snap tonight a 20-game road losing streak in conference play. Here's Merrill, 5 to shoot it. Moore recognizes that, gets a ball screen, and hits. Late ball screen from Janasek, and Jalen Moore doesn't need much room to get that shot off.
He has great rhythm to his game. Took it one dribble right, crossover, as we said, at 6'9" with long arms, and he has one of the prettiest jump shots in this league. You can tell his dad spent a lot of time with him as a kid out in the driveway. Man, what a pretty jump shot.
Yep, here's Louder, good check, Moore wide open. Speaking of pretty jump shots, that one did not stay down after Graham hit his first couple of 3-point attempts. Wow, that's a big-time collision. Louder and McEwen. It'll be on Louder.
Well, I have said many, many times that these 2 young classes, here's Jalen Moore. Look at that little shot or jab fake right, goes to his left, which is much harder for a right-handed shooter. And again, great rhythm, great timing in his game. 3 freshmen on the court now, 2 for Utah State, 1 for Air Force. You've heard me talk time and again this year. The 2 classes, freshman, sophomore class in the Mountain West Conference, is loaded with talent.
And nobody's better than the kid who just hit that shot, Kobe McEwen. He will be the freshman of the year in the conference.
And something that was kind of missed because they started the seniors. The first game this year, he didn't start. He started 27 out of 27 games. He's a leading freshman scorer in the league, second leading rebounder, and leader of all freshmen in minutes played. And there is another great freshman that we talked about, Lavelle Scotty.
Talked about an aggressive first step. Sometimes guys are too short, Joe, with that first step. Here's McEwen. This is really long range. Give him 4. Can we do that?
Wow. Wow. He and Sam Merrill, the Aggies have been playing basketball, Drew, for 113 years. Last Wednesday, something happened that had never happened before. The 2 freshmen, McEwen and Merrill, both had 20 or more points. The first time that's ever happened in the history of Aggie basketball. Of course, it's not unexpected. Both those kids have come on in leaps and bounds. Both of them 6'4", future stars in the league.
Hayden Graham, tough turnaround. Hayden Graham, it seems lately he's been more aggressive because he's a lot like Jalen Moore. There's some nights you say, be more assertive on the offensive end.
I think he sees light at the end of the tunnel. His career is almost over. And that's where he has usually been his most effective, is kind of in and around the basket.
Jalen Moore on the money again. He's got 11.
Well, we're watching two seniors here who have had great careers, Hayden Graham and Jalen Moore. Both of them well over 1,000 points, both of them well over 100 career games. They are just an example of everything that's right in college athletics.
Offensive foul called on Jacob Van. Dave Pilipovich fit to be tied. He didn't like that call at all. Moore on fire, 33-18. Aggies by 15.
Welcome back to Logan. Jalen Moore, 3 for 3 from the three-point line, off the catch, off the bounce, going away from the basket where you got to have great footwork. What a great, silky, smooth delivery. And there's a reason, Drew, that he just continues to climb up the all-time scoring list at Utah State. Although, like you said, I don't believe he's going any higher. He's 200 behind the next guy.
He'd have to have a couple of Wilton kind of games from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Jimmy's wearing a lot of hats tonight because he has organized an event. It's alumni night here at Utah State. So there's a lot of former basketball players in the house. Graham in the open floor will flush it. Hayden Graham's got a dozen.
Well, as I mentioned, Drew, 113 years the Aggies have been playing college basketball. This is a program with deep and long tradition. A lot of great players, a lot of great coaches. This is a wonderful place for a kid to play college basketball.
Ooh, that rebound wasn't handled and kicked off the shoulder right back to Quinn Taylor. And a reset for the Aggies, up 13. Down low, Taylor. Man, they better start finding him. Well, he's having a career night.
I tell you what, Sam Merrill, a great entry pass to the post. The Aggies doing as good a job as anyone I've seen all year, getting that ball into the low block right at the right time. You know, college basketball has turned into a three-point shot first look. The Aggies doing a great job playing from the inside out tonight.
Taylor's got 11. His career high is 16 earlier this year against San Jose.
Sam Merrill is the third leading scorer on this Aggie team, but he also, as a freshman, leads the Mountain West Conference in assist to turnover ratio, 6'4". That was just a terrific pass by a freshman. He does two things that you don't see freshmen do much. Take care of the basketball and really guard out in the perimeter.
He misses, Merrill pulls it down.
Sam Merrill just keeps getting better and better. He was a two-year mission guy to Nicaragua. It usually takes those guys a little time to get their legs back. He has taken over as a starter, about 6 weeks ago, and boy, he and McEwen have become a dynamic freshman backcourt.
Manning looking for a foul call, didn't get a whistle. Rector leading a three, or excuse me, McEwen leading a 3-on-1, and a carries called.
I talked about what a great defender Sam Merrill was for a freshman. You just saw that staying in front of Ryan Manning, keeping his feet moving, keeping his hands up, and not fouling there, even though Ryan Manning was trying to talk the ref into getting a foul. Tim Dury is doing a great job of shuffling his players, keeping fresh guys on the court.
Tui by himself said, hey, you're not going to cover me. I'm going to shoot the three. He can do that since his 20th three-pointer of the year. He's got 7 in the first half, and it's a 12-point separation.
Tui's the second leading scorer, second leading rebounder, and leads the Cadets in field goal percentage.
Quinn Taylor just keeps coming free. He's got 13.
He's having a career tonight. And he's making it look easy. Again, credit the Aggie perimeter guys getting him the ball down in the paint.
Shane Rector draws the charge.
And another great pass by the freshman Sam Merrill, the way he looked off the defense Kind of a little pass fake and then a terrific pass. That's back-to-back really nice passes by Sam Merrill, the freshman who I said leads the league in assist to turnover ratio.
Air Force staying in the zone. Utah State with great ball movement.
Both these teams, you talk about Air Force being in every game. Wow.
Merrill steps into a three.
Utah State, Drew, has lost 6 games this year by 5 or less points. They're another team that's been right there knocking on the door all year. Both these teams kind of buzzard looking in close games.
Utah State looking to run. Rector, who's so quick. Wow, what a move. What a finish by Rector. Timeout Air Force. They're down 19. Utah State riding the emotion of senior night. This senior just made a spectacular move. Utah State is shooting 65%. That usually will help you get a 19-point lead. Quinn Taylor has been by his lonesome several times in this ball game. He's got 13 off the bench. There he is, all alone. An easy layup in the net is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Career high of 16. He's within 3 of that right now, with still plenty of time left in the first half. 3:53 to go.
As I keep saying, his teammates doing a great job of putting the ball right on the money as he flashes in the paint. 6 for 9, 13 points in only 8 minutes, Drew. Now the Aggies back in their little matchup zone coming out of that timeout.
Louder drives, kicks to Van. 3-ball on the money for Jacob Van, his first bucket.
Jacob Van has not a picturesque release on the ball, but he shoots it very, very well. 40% from the three-point line, 833 from the free throw line. One of the best free throw shooters in the Mountain West Conference.
Brian Swan picks up the foul as he was bodying Jalen Moore. Coker and Van go out. Lyons and Tomes back in.
Zach Coker, a kid who has been playing very, very well, coming off a 16-point game. He's averaging almost 15 in these last 6 games, has yet to score. A senior from Arapahoe.
Nearly a turnover comes to Merrill, and that's kind of how the first half is going for Utah State. By the way, I know that Arapahoe High School.
I was going to say that's a high school, not a tribe or anything. He has been one of mine and your favorite players over the last 4 years at the Academy.
Does everything right. Here's Lyons leaning in. Air Force down by 18. Utah State. McEwen finds Rector. Now McEwen. And Tui with a good box out on Taylor.
I tell you, that didn't go in for McEwen, but he did a great job of getting where he could got that shot, creating an uncontested passing lane for Shane Rector there. That's a great feel for a freshman. Both teams look a little winded, don't they?
Everybody but Rector, and then he gets ripped there by Tomes, the freshman. Off to Louder. Louder pulls his way in, and he was fouled by Quinn Taylor. That'll be the second on Taylor, and free throws coming for Purvis Louder.
And the free throw line.
The Aggies need to finish this off. Up 18 right now. They don't need to get loose with the game and start turning it over and let Air Force cut this thing by many points. They want to go into halftime feeling pretty good about things.
Louder misses the front end. Purvis coming off a 13-point game against UNLV. Dargington coming back in. You know, Louder at 6'3", and Tomes, who's been playing a lot, getting starts the last couple of weeks, is 6'4". Dave Pilipovic's going to have a nice-sized backcourt a year from now?
A freshman and a sophomore. I keep harping. People probably get tired of listening to me talk about how talented this freshman and sophomore class in the Mountain West Conference is. A year, maybe two, boy, I think you're going to see some terrific talent in the Mountain West Conference with multiple teams getting to the NCAA.
Here's Tomes. Minute 35 left. And away from the basketball. A foul on Janasek.
Janasek and Tui doing battle in and around the low block there. Janasek is a new pickup, a sophomore, 6'11", from Slovakia. The Aggies, of course, lose Jalen Moore, but they have got really good young kids in this team.
That shot way short by Lyons. Here's Moore down the lane, finger roll. You know, there was a guy who had a large afro about 40 years ago that would make some finger rolls.
Was his first name Doctor?
His first name was Doctor, yes. That's the travel, and everything that can go wrong in this first half for Air Force is going wrong. Pretty finger roll from Jalen Moore.
I keep saying Jalen Moore for the last 3 years has been the best inside-out player in the league. He's got that beautiful jump shot, and he's good around the basket. He has just been a joy to watch for these last 3 years. Averaged 5 points as a freshman, then he went to 15 as a sophomore, 15 as a junior, 16 after that. He's just been a picture of consistency these last 3 years.
Janasek didn't get called for 3 seconds. I thought he may.
Well, I was getting ready to say, when's the last time you saw 3 seconds called? I think it's been a decade or so, because he was in there about an hour and a half.
38 seconds left in the half. Well, now the decade's over because 3 seconds just called on Janasek. They got him the second time.
I thought they called timeout there. I didn't see that. I think they missed it the first time, knew they missed it. Janasek thought he could get away with it, I guess.
Holmes spins in, but he walked. And this is so unlike Air Force. They've turned it over a bunch. They've taken some quick shots.
Air Force is coming off, I said, a terrific offensive game. They had 10 turnovers against UNLV, but 20 assists. Drew, anytime you're 2-1 as a team, assist to turnovers, that's really good. Boy, they have really turned it. I bet they have 4 or 5 travel calls on them tonight.
So the shot clock is off. And Shane Rector will wait a few more moments and then make a move. 20-point lead for Utah State at home. Off to Moore, back to Rector for 3. And that will end the first 20 minutes. All Utah State on senior night. Shane Rector, one of those seniors. He had a couple of terrific drives. Their leader, Jalen Moore's got 13 first half points. At the break, Utah State 46, Air Force 26. Back to Logan right after this.